Today, our city mourns the tragic loss of a child in a traffic accident. As a father and a grandfather, personally, I cannot imagine the pain that the family is going through today. I would ask everyone to join me in praying for this family and praying for everyone that was involved in this and those that are dealing with this as they go through it. And this includes not only the family, but also the students and classmates that were involved that know this child, for the teachers that know this child, for the police officers and the firefighters and the paramedics who responded, and for those that just knew the victim and know the family. So please join us in that for all of you out there today. I'm going to take a moment to introduce Chief Jeremy Plain. He is our police chief. He has a couple of pieces of information to share, and then I will come back up and close us out. Chief.
First, thanks for everyone for being here. I'm Jeremy Plain. I'm the chief of police here in Glenpool. Took over about 3 years ago. I worked here for a number of years before that. This morning, early, right at school start, we had a 3-car collision involving a commercial motor vehicle where a juvenile passed away. Several others were injured and transported. Again, that scene was turned over to Highway Patrol as that intersection is part of their jurisdiction and not ours. Any further questions on that, I would defer to OHP and they can give you updates on that, okay? As far as 151st in general, I got some stats that I'm going to provide, and you can have a copy of these when we're finished. In 2021, the city had 478 collisions. Of those, 56 of them were on Highway 67 or 151st Street, whichever one you want to call it. 2022, we had 450. On that stretch of road, we had 64. 23, we had 528. 82 on that stretch of road. 2024 was 484 with 83 on 151st. And in 2025, we had 366 so far this year, and 70 of those are on 151st. The PD can provide statistics a little further in depth on that as far as injury, non-injury, and fatalities. 2 years ago, we saw 7 fatalities in the city of Glenpool, 2 of which were on that road. We have statistically had at least 1 every year for the last 5 years. The city, I know, has worked with ODOT in trying to get some things accomplished, whether that be minimizing speed, different signage, something, whether it be traffic signals, things of that nature, and to date, we're not there. There have been traffic studies done. The city adopted that study and passed it along to ODOT. We're waiting on them to decide what they're going to do with it. Statistically, Highway 67 and 151st Street from 26 West Ave to Lewis is by far our most dangerous place in the city, even over Highway 75. Per capita, we have more collisions with fatalities or injuries on that stretch than we do anywhere else. Again, I started here in 2008, took over as chief 3 years ago. 4 years ago, my kids were traveling to school in that same intersection as this morning and was T-boned by a gentleman and put both of my children in the hospital. There have been conversations about school zones, reduction in speed right there, and so far, I'm not saying ODOT hasn't heard us or took it into consideration, but no action has been taken. We're still dealing with today, 4 years later, the same stuff that I complained about in 2020. With that, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer what I can.
Just to be sure, you told us back in July, or the city at least, said that there was a request sent to ODOT from a corridor study about that. And so just to be clear, what dialogue did y'all get back from ODOT?
I thought it'd be a question for me.
Let me address a little bit, then I'll come back to the question if that's okay. One of the pieces that we've done is a multi-jurisdictional traffic study on Highway 67. This included the city of Bixby, city of Glenpool, ODOT, and INCOG. So they are aware of the study, have participated in that study since its inception along this corridor. That has been completed. ODOT reviewed it, asked for some suggested revisions to that. Those have been done and sent back to them. So they do have the study in hand at this point. And moving forward, that study calls for a reduction in speed along a portion of this corridor. It calls for signalization at Peoria, at Elwood, and at Broadway. So traffic signals at those corridors. And that does not include the corridor today. But what I would add is By having those signalization pieces in place in conjunction with a reduced speed limit, we believe it would have affected the outcome of this, or at least the severity of this moving forward. While it is a tragic piece and we continue to know we can't predict the future on these events, our goal today is to find a way to continue to minimize the danger to the traveling public and to our residents and to our school students as they move through this corridor. With that, we know some of these changes take time. We're dealing with a state budget that is not an immediate process sometimes. It does take some time to work through the system and get that done. But what we are calling on today as part of this is immediately asking ODOT to begin an implementation of a reduced speed limit on this corridor. It is a piece that we've talked about with them in the past. We have had good dialogue in the past of trying to find ways to work forward. But unfortunately, we've come to a point that we have to begin to move forward quicker. And so that is the purpose of today, is to come in and say, we would like to see this happen immediately as we move forward. How can we get a reduction in speed limit? How can we get increased signage on the road? There is another school system at Bigsby, just right down the road, that has a signal in front of their school. What can we do here in Glenpool to begin to affect tragic outcomes like this as we move forward? The other thing that we're asking for as part of this immediately is a timeline on what it would take to begin to implement the recommendations from the corridor study, so that we understand and our public can begin to understand when to expect these changes to take effect. We have unfortunately seen way too many fatality accidents in this corridor and way too many crashes in this corridor over the years. And today is the time to begin to act. So with that, I will take any questions that you have, I can answer, or that Chief Plain can answer as we move forward.
So what are your messages? I'm sure you guys have gotten all the same ones today of everybody bringing up these concerns. What are your messages to parents and people coming in and out of that area that are concerned about this?
We understand their concerns. We share their concerns. We have been working with ODOT. That's part of the process that we put in place with the traffic corridor study, with the other pieces that we requested, including the reduced speed limit and signalization. And with that, we will continue to move forward to press ODOT on this issue and begin to work with our state legislative officials to find funding to help move this forward more quickly if possible.
So one of the things that OHB had discussed was this was actually de-annexed by the city, this area. What is kind of, I didn't know that. Is there, what happened there? Why is that?
Sure, let me clarify that a little bit. This area has never been de-annexed. When this area was originally annexed years ago, it was prior to the current configuration of that highway. And so the city annexed up to what's considered the state, or the right-of-way line through there, right? The section line road that was in place at that time on the highway. At the point that the state realigned the highway slightly to make the expansions that you see today, it moved it slightly outside the city limits in a few places. So that's what we're dealing with today. It was not a de-annexation, it's just a process that unfortunately, part of the highway is in and part of the highway is out of the city limits as we move forward.
So that's kind of what creates all of those, with ODOT.
Right, this is the process where, in our case today, that the highway patrol ended up working the crash site because it falls technically inside their jurisdiction as outside the city limits.
Would it have mattered if it were in our city limits for ODOT to signalize that?
The reality is, as we move forward, regardless of whether this is inside the city limits or not, it's still part of a traffic corridor to say that we've got. And we need those lights for the safety of the traveling public.
If you have a question, we need to answer.
Yes.
Yeah, is Glenpool still a safe city to expand in population given these concerns?
Absolutely. I think every city goes through certain processes as it continues to expand. We find areas and we address those areas. And that's what's happened here. We were proactive in working with ODOT to try to get pieces done on a state highway. Unfortunately, we are corralled by their requirements as a state entity. We have no control over how the state moves or how it does or what projects it funds or doesn't fund. And so for us, it is a matter of continuing to work proactively with ODOT. We don't want to create a scenario where we are at odds with the state. We want to find solutions proactively with them as we move forward. But the reality is we have come to a point that we have to do something now. We cannot continue to wait any longer.
You spoken with Glenpool Public Schools leadership today?
I had a brief conversation with the superintendent earlier this morning, expressed my condolences to his team and to the faculty and students that are going there. I know he is working hard and diligently to work through this on his end.
Has district leadership shared concerns with you all as well about this ongoing process?
We have been having ongoing conversations with the school system in the past. As we spoke today, we will continue to have those. I would imagine there will be several upcoming meetings as we continue to work and try to find some joint solutions moving forward and how we partner with ODOT.
All right, thank you so much, sir. If I could get you guys to both say your names and spell them as well as your titles.
Absolutely. David Tillotson, Tillotson, I'm the city manager. Chief.
Jeremy Plain, last name is Plane.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Anybody else have questions?
You said you didn't have numbers on arrests or citations given?
That is not data that I pulled for today. The numbers I gave you today, you all can have a copy of that. It's just brief numbers as far as overall statistics and collisions. I can break those down further. That was the intent. I ran out of time to show you injury versus non-injury versus fatality over the last 5 years along the 151st corridor. Things like citations and arrest, we can provide that as well. It's something you'll have to do through an open records request.
So this area is one of the most, where the crash happened today is one of the most deadliest stretches, is what you're saying?
All of 151st, that stretch from 26 West Avenue to Lewis, I have more collisions, both injury, non-injury, and fatality than I do anywhere else, including all of Highway 75.
And I would just add that we will be making the traffic corridor study available on our website, most likely by tomorrow morning is when I anticipate that will be up in case you want to go look at that.
Thank you.
Has the city made, or how many requests have they made to ODOT about this particular stretch of road?
We have made requests, varying requests over the years, starting with the Broadway signalization process, starting as early as 2021. And so we continue to move that forward. Those requests have increased now that the traffic corridor study has been completed.
Will there be a request filed today?
There has already been a conversation about those requests today, yes.
With a lot of construction work happening on 75 through Glenpool, are more people using 151st, or is it more traffic than usual because of the construction?
We are seeing increased traffic on a number of city streets throughout the city. I can't say we've not measured specifically on Highway 67 to see if that has caused a significant increase or not.
And that's the intersection, it's 4 lanes that you would have to go across if you're at a stop sign to get eastbound or westbound?
It is a 4-lane divided highway at this intersection. And so, yes, they will have to, if you were going straight across, you would navigate a 4-lane process to get across.
You said you had been waiting to hear back about the quarter story that you had sent. When was that sent? Was it within the last few months?
I don't have the date. It was this year, in 2025, earlier this year, I believe March or April, but I'm not certain as to that timeline as to when that was submitted to them. We have had conversations since then about that, but we have not received anything specific moving forward as to dates or timelines as to when we could begin to see some implementation of those pieces on the corridor study.
Chief, about today, the victim was released with 9 years old. In your experience, has this been the youngest fatality victim that you can think of?
To my knowledge, it's the only juvenile fatality on 151 since I've been here. And again, there's other crashes at OHP's work that we weren't a part of and collisions that took place long before I came here. But in my experience, the ones that I've been a part of, it's the only juvenile.
What's traffic normally like at 8 a.m. on a Monday in that stretch?
It's busy. Warrior Road, or also what we call Fern or Warrior Road, is the road that runs north and south directly in front of the football field into the school. So you have east and westbound traffic trying to drop kids off at school on top of your normal flow of traffic for people trying to get to work, home, after work, things of that nature. So at any given time during the morning rush or the evening rush when school's out, you're going to see a huge increase in traffic there.
When y'all are able